All right, let's dive into one of the most intense courtroom showdowns in all of history, the trial of Joan of Arc. Now, this was so much more than just a legal case. It was a true clash of minds, of faith, and of sheer willpower between a teenage girl and, well, the most powerful institution on Earth at the time. All of this is happening against the grim background of the Hundred Years' War. We're going to see how she faced them down, armed with pretty much nothing but her own brilliant mind and an unshakable faith.
And right from the jump, you get a sense of who we're dealing with. With these words, Joan immediately puts her captors on the back foot. I mean, she's calling them out on their fear. It's sharp, it's sarcastic, and it perfectly sets the stage for the incredible battle of wits that's about to go down.
So, picture this. It's a huge, cold stone hall in Rouen, France, May 30th, 1431. Despite it being late spring, the atmosphere is anything but bright. Joan, who just a short time ago was celebrated as a military hero of France, is now a prisoner. She's in chains, facing a court that seems absolutely determined to break her.
So, you have to ask, how in the world did she end up here? It's a wild story. In just a couple of years, Joan goes from a totally unknown peasant girl to this magnetic military leader who completely turns the tide of the war for France. Her victories were so stunning, they felt like miracles, which made her a national hero. But it also made her a huge threat to the English, who eventually captured her and set up this whole trial for heresy to try and destroy her reputation and everything she fought for.
And look who she was up against. This was no jury of her peers, not even close. It was a lineup of some of the most powerful and educated men in the church. You've got Cauchon, the lead judge and a top theologian. Then there's John de Stevit, the chief prosecutor, who's just relentless, and de Courcelles, who helped write up the 64 charges against her. I mean, she was completely surrounded by the full weight of institutional power.
So the trial gets underway, and the court wastes zero time. They go right on the attack, hitting her with questions that are specifically designed to trap her, to twist her words and actions into proof of witchcraft or heresy.
Courcelles kicks things off with this totally loaded question. See, he's not really just asking if she tried to escape. He's hinting at something unnatural. The implication is, how could any normal person survive a 60-foot jump unless they had some kind of dark magic on their side? He's trying to plant the seed that she's a witch.
And her answer is just incredible. She doesn't get defensive at all. Instead, she comes back with this biting wit. She completely dismisses the whole witchcraft angle and basically calls him out for exaggerating. She turns his own ridiculous question right back on him. Just brilliant.
De Stevit, the prosecutor, he sees a little opening here and pounces. He tries to pin her down with a simple, direct question. Forget the high towers, forget the magic. Just, did you or did you not try to escape?
And this is where you really see who she is. She doesn't deny it for a second. Nope, she owns it. And then she gives them this simple, beautiful, powerful metaphor: a caged bird. To her, escaping isn't a crime. It's the most natural thing in the world for any creature that's been locked up.
But for this court, her honest, straightforward answer is the exact opening they were looking for. They take this very human desire for freedom, and they start twisting it into a very serious crime against God.
And here it is. This is the legal trap they've been setting. De Stevit makes this argument that because she's technically in the church's custody, trying to escape is the same thing as deserting the church itself. And deserting the church, well, by their definition, that's heresy. And heresy is an offense punishable by death. Joan's reaction is just pure, unfiltered common sense. She can't even wrap her head around their twisted logic. To her, it's just ridiculous, and she says so, right to their faces. You can feel the massive gap between her practical, grounded view of the world and the court's rigid, absolute dogma.
So, you can imagine, they're getting pretty frustrated with her sharp answers and her defiance. The mood in the court starts to shift. Some of the judges want to escalate things, a lot. And this is where we start to see some cracks appear in their unified front.
Courcelles, yep, the same guy who asked about the tower, he formally suggests putting Joan to the torture. He wants to literally force a confession out of her to break her will in a way their questions couldn't. And this isn't just a threat. The instruments of torture are ready to go. They've already shown them to her.
Her response to this absolutely terrifying threat is, well, it's astonishingly logical. She doesn't just beg for her life, she completely dismantles the entire point of torture. She admits, yes, I'm human, I'm afraid of pain, but then she points out the logical flaw. Any confession she makes under that kind of pain will be meaningless, because she'll just take it all back the second they stop. So what's the point?
And her argument actually causes a split in the court. On one side, you have Corcelles, arguing for torture based on tradition. It's the law, it's just what we do. But on the other side, Cauchon, the lead judge, he pushes back. He's worried about how this all looks, about the legitimacy of the trial. He says he won't have it said they won because of a forced confession. And for that moment at least, mercy, or maybe just good PR, wins out.
And we should just take a second to remember the scale of what she was up against. Her brave answers weren't just for one or two tricky questions. The court had put together 64 separate charges against her. It was a massive legal mountain designed to crush her.
All right, this brings us to the climax of the entire trial. Torture is off the table, so Cauchon knows he has to corner her with one final perfect, inescapable question. Her life, her soul, everything now hangs on this one answer.
This is it. This is the ultimate test. What he's really asking is, will you submit your personal beliefs, your visions from God, your conscience, everything to the absolute authority of the institution of the church? A simple yes could save her life. A no is a death sentence.
And for just a split second, it sounds like she's going to give in. She starts her answer with the exact words the court has been waiting to hear. You can almost see the judges leaning in, thinking, finally, we've finally broken her.
And then, the knockout blow. With that one brilliant little phrase, she takes all the power back. She says, sure, I'll obey the church, but not if it commands her to do something impossible, like, for instance, denying what she believes God himself has told her. She's just drawn a line in the sand. Her own conscience, her direct line to God, comes before the institution sitting in judgment of her.
The reaction in the room is instant, and for the court, it's devastating. That hopeful lean forward from Cauchon turns into a heavy sigh of defeat. The inquisitor just frowns. They all know what just happened. They've lost. She refused to give them the unconditional surrender they needed, and in doing so, she has sealed her own fate.
You know, in the end, this trial wasn't really about heresy or witchcraft. It was about this fundamental conflict right here. A battle between one person's unshakable conscience and an institution that demanded absolute, unquestioning submission. And it really leaves us with a question that's just as relevant today. When an authority tells you to deny what you know to be your truth, what do you do?